Welcome to episode 5 of the Her Game podcast presented by Capelli Sport, the official uniform supplier of the WPSL and the Her Game podcast. I am Jeramie McPeek, the WPSL social media director, and I'm joined by Nichole Singleton, the communications director for the WPSL. What's going on, Nichole?
Hey, Jeramie. Can you believe that we're already in episode 5 of the season and we're getting into the fun stuff now? We can actually talk about the championship, conference championship games and division champions.
That's right. We've already had a few champions crowned, and we've got more postseason action coming up this weekend. It's crazy how fast this season's gone.
It's really flown by. But before we get into that, I do want to mention just how unique this season is and how it's affected the postseason. It's going to be a little bit differently than what we've seen in the past.
That's right. Some of the conferences opted out of the traditional postseason and will instead crown their champions based on the regular season points in the standings.
Yes, and we still have a few conferences that are going to try to do a mini tournament of their own or have a final championship game to crown their winner.
That's right. So let's get right into it, shall we? In the West region, the undefeated FC Tucson, right here in Arizona, where I'm from, was crowned the Desert Conference champions after their 3-0 win over SC Del Sol from Phoenix a week ago on July 7th.
Yeah, and the Colorado Rapids women won the Mountain Conference over the weekend with their 3-0 win over Colorado Pride.
The SoCal Conference will have champions in both divisions, but not an overall conference champion. We've got in the Coastal Division, the LA Surf earned the first seed, and they will take on SoCal Union FC for the division title.
And with the Plymouth Division, they elected to crown their champion based on regular season standings. And with a few games still left on schedule, it looks like it's going to come down to either San Diego Strikers or ASC San Diego. And the Pac North actually started a later schedule than the rest of the league, so we won't actually see their champion crowned until the end of the month on July 31st. And they have elected to also crown their champion based on regular season points.
Okay. And over in the South region, the Carolina Conference will have the top 4 teams compete in a mini tournament. And it looks like the top 2 seeds have been claimed by Asheville City SC and the Charlotte Eagles from the Southern Division at this point.
And then the Southeast Conference, all 6 of the teams will have a chance to play for their conference title, with the top 2 teams hosting and securing the bye the first round. And right now it looks like the first 2 teams will be Nashville Rhythm and the Chattanooga Red Wolves.
And the Sunshine Conference will just crown its division champions based on regular season points. The Southern Division is leaning towards FC Surge, Team Boca Blast, or the Cape Coral Cyclones, while the Northern Division looks like it will come down to the Florida Crush or Tampa Bay United.
And over in the East region, Penn Fusion actually already won the Mid-Atlantic Conference with an undefeated 9-0 record. And the Cleveland Ambassadors look like they almost have the Ohio Valley Conference locked up, but there's still a few games left to play for that one.
The Colonial Conference champion has been won by the 2021 expansion team, Washington Dutch Lions FC, after its win over SJEB FC this past weekend.
The Metropolitan Conference will crown champions in each of their divisions, with Sousa hosting Rhode Island Rogues for the North Division Championship.
The South Division will see semifinal games between the first and fourth teams in the standings and the second and third teams. Matchfit Academy and Real Central New Jersey have already claimed the second and third spots, so they will have to go through each other to reach the final. And the standing leaders, Gotham Reserves, look to face off with PSA Monmouth, or STA.
And in the Central region, the Northern Conference has 4 games left in the regular season play, but Minnesota Thunder actually earned the championship back on June 30th. And with the Midwestern Conference, looks like another newcomer for the 2021 expansion class, Lady Victory FC could take that crown, but there's still a few games left on their schedule as well.
The Chicago Dutch Lions, Milwaukee Bavarians, and the Milwaukee Torrent look to take the Lake Michigan Conference title away from the Chicago Red Star Reserves, as each are separated by a single point in the standings. The Red Star Reserves currently hold 16 points, but still have several games left to play themselves within the conference.
And finally, the Red River Conference will crown its champions with a title match between the winners of the Northern and Southern divisions. The AHFC Royals clinched the Southern Division title after a 6-0 win over crosstown rivals Houston Aces, and Tulsa SC won the Northern Division over the weekend, so they will travel to Houston to face the Royals on July 17th.
And speaking of the AHFC Royals, we will be joined by their coach and several of their players coming up here in the second half. All right, we're kicking off the second half of episode 5 of the Her Game podcast presented by Capelli Sport. And we are excited today to be joined by the Albion Hurricanes Football Club, better known as AHFC, the Royals. And we've got Coach Rafa Brazo here with us, as well as a few of his players. Let me go through the names here. Barbara Olivieri, Lauren Getzik, and Leah Klenke. Excuse me. Leia's in the car. Hopefully you're not driving though, Leah.
I'm not.
No, good. Thank you guys for joining us today. We really appreciate it. I think this is our largest group on the podcast yet. Nichole, is that right?
I believe it is. Yeah. So let's just go through quick introductions for our listeners. Barbara, we can start with you. Just kind of tell us what position you play, where you play collegiately, and how long you've been playing with the Royals.
So I go to Texas A&M, and I'm a forward / attacking mid, and this is my first season with the Royals. So, yeah.
Awesome. Lauren?
Hi, I'm Lauren Getzik. I also go to Texas A&M, and I basically play any position out wide, and this is also my first year with the Royals.
Leah?
I'm Leah. I am going to be a senior in high school, so I'm still in Houston, and I'm committed to Notre Dame, so I'll be up there next year. And this is my first year with the Royals, and I play outside back or outside forward.
Awesome. Leah, I apologize. I practiced all of your names as we were warming up before we got started, and then I got them all wrong, I think. So guess we need to start over. Coach, tell us about yourself and how long you've been coaching and how you got associated with the team.
Well, I mean, I've been coaching for the last 20 years. I'm originally from Spain. I've been at Albion Hurricanes working with all the groups at the ECNL level. And this is just like the girls. This is my first year helping with the women's team.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you guys for joining us. And what an impressive season you've all had. You finished the season undefeated in the WPSL. You clinched the Southern Division of the Red River Conference. Barbara, why don't you kind of start out and tell us just what sort of mindset your team has had and that you've had to have in order to complete a regular season undefeated?
I mean, yeah, since the beginning, Danny and Rafa and Ben were like, we have a great team. We have great talent. But we have to work for our wins. Obviously, that's not going to win us the whole conference. So we kind of all, as a team, worked our hardest, left everything out on the field every time, played our best game. And I mean, we deserve it for sure. So definitely the results we wanted.
Definitely an impressive run this regular season. Lauren, you mentioned we listened that you and Barbara both play for Texas A&M. How was it coming into the Royals with a teammate? And do you think chemistry like that with the WPSL season, do you think that plays a factor in the success of the season?
For sure. Actually, Barbara and I have been playing with each other since we were like 10 years old. So a lot of the players on the Royals team actually came up through the Albion system. So that team chemistry is obviously huge. And then we just like extended our family with a couple of other players. So definitely that chemistry on the field helped us become that winning team that we were.
Cool. And Leah, you mentioned that you're going to be a senior in high school this coming fall. What was it like for you playing with collegiate athletes, and how do you think that will prepare you when you do head off to college in another year?
Yeah, it's just been such a great experience for me. It's been super fun to play with all these girls, and it gets me, or it's like a taste of how college will be like for me. So I've been very blessed to be able to have this opportunity.
What do you feel like you've learned the most from them, from your teammates that are already in college and have a little more experience?
I think I've learned to just like give it all you got in the games, because you don't know how many chances you're going to get. Like the coach can take you in or like take you out. So whenever you get a chance to play, just give it all you got and show the coaches and everyone what you have.
Sure.
That's great advice. Rafa, you mentioned that this was your first season coaching the Royals. but the Royals actually entered the league in 2018 and have since improved with each season. And as we mentioned, you guys went undefeated in the regular season and outscored your opponents 41-1, which I don't know if you guys realize this, but that's actually a record right now for most goals scored, as well as least conceded. So, Rafa, what was the strategy going into this season and prepping the team and keeping their mentality focused on playing at the elite level consistently?
Oh, that's a good question. I think, I mean, this is my first year working with the Royals, but I've been very close and following them. And I think the difference this year was selecting the players. As Lauren said, 90% of the players are from the Albion Hurricane system, youth system. And, we were very fortunate to add 2 or 3 players from the local clubs, 2 that were outstanding players and improve us. And I think the key for this year, difference to previous ones, was that we have a small roster. We want a small roster of players that were committed. We knew that we're going to be there, whether the game was out of town or in town. And I thought that was the biggest difference this year, And then on top of that, the level of and the quality of the players that we were able to add, to that roster, I think that's what make the team successful.
Makes sense. Lauren, you guys, as we mentioned, clinched the Southern Division title after a 6-0 win against the Houston Aces back on June 25th. So it's been a couple weeks now, but that earned you guys a place in the conference championship game against the winner of the Northern Division coming up. Explain what that feeling was like to clinch that division title and what that means to the team.
It was so important for us to go out there and win that game. We had worked so hard that season to build that record, score all those goals. And it was the best that it was against the rival team, the Houston Aces. And they had been our toughest competition so far that season. So we just wanted to come out and solidify our place in the final.
And Barbara, you just 2 days after that match, you ended the regular season game. So as Jeramie mentioned, there's a few weeks in between and from the end of the season into the conference championship. What for you personally have you been trying to keep focused on the game coming up in this gap? And what do you think the team chemistry has come to try to stay focused on the job at hand?
Well, after our last regular season game, we all on our little group chat were like, we have to keep this intensity going, keep the fire going. We still have one more game. If we're undefeated, we want to, end that way. So just we all have that mentality. And personally, I've been making sure that I'm still touching the ball. I think there's 3 weeks in between. So I went to the Dominican, but made sure that I was, working out, still kind of keeping my shape and ready to, kill it for the last game. And I'm pretty sure everyone's doing the same thing. So.
You guys will host the championship game on your home field. Leah, what does it mean to have the opportunity to play for the organization's first conference title?
I mean, it's just super exciting for us and for the club. And we're all just so excited to play in front of our home crowd. Hopefully we can get a lot of people out there. And we're just going to bring everything we have. Hopefully we can win.
Now, Rafa, in this gap in between for the prepping for the championship game, have you been keeping an eye on the Northern Division to kind of see who you may be going up against, and if did that play any role in how you're prepping the team? And is there anything different going into postseason prep than throughout the season?
No, I mean, I think the kind of the protocols are the same, right? I mean, as you know, that Northern Division finished later than we did. So we're kind of waiting to see whether it was going to be FC Dallas because they had a chance, or Tulsa. And then now that we knew that it's Tulsa, obviously just going to take the same prep work, give as much information as we can to the players so they know the opponents, and, knowing that things might be changing too, due to the time of period. Some of the players might not be there. but kind of the style of play, system of play, and just prepare the players as good as we can, for the match.
Well, the Red River Conference Championship game will be played on your home turf, the Royals home turf in Houston on Saturday, July 17. So we wish you all luck, and we really thank you guys for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.